Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. In today's video, I will show you how to use LangGraph Studio, which is a powerful tool to visualize your agents, monitor their execution, and even how to debug them. This is very useful, guys, when you are developing AI agents, and you will see why it's useful after watching this video. To present Studio features, I will use this code that I will put the link in the video description. Here is our code on VS Code. The project is called LE5 for explain like I'm 5, and in total we have 3 agents, which we define here as graphs in LangGraph notation. So the first one is a working agent, where we ask an agent to explain concepts for us as if we were 5. The second agent is called LE5 buggy, when we have a bug to fix. And the third one is LE5 flaky, that we will use to show you how the agent's results might change by changing one of the intermediate steps. So this is in the graphs.py file. Now if we check the langgraph.json file, so this is the config file that tells Studio where the agents are in the code base. This is why we see that we have LE5 working, LE5 buggy, and flaky, and 3 of them are in the graphs.py file. I'm not going through the code here because the goal is to present you LangGraph Studio, but don't hesitate to ask me questions if you have any in the video comments. Now let's run Studio. We can do it in terminal. We do it by running LangGraph dev, and here we have our server running. Let's open it in a browser window. Here you find the Studio URL, and here we have our Studio opened in a browser window. So here we have the graph of our agent. We have a start point, an end point, and we have 2 other steps, which are search tool used to do search, and the explain step, where an LLM is used to explain what the user asked for based on the search results. So let's try this out by asking a question. Also on Studio, we have the possibility to choose which agent we want to debug. So here we will start with the first one, which is the working one. Let's try it out using this question. So what is complexity economics? We submit our query, and here we see different steps taken by our agent. We can see which node is executed and how the agent state is changing. Also, we can visualize the agent's traces by clicking on trace button. So here we have the end-to-end trace. So here we have the user question, which is what is complexity economics, and here we have our agent answer. We can see that at the search step, a search tool is called to search the web, which is Tavily search here. And we can see that in the explain step, we ask an LLM to explain the results. And as you notice here, guys, what we put the mouse on in the trace is actually highlighted in the graph. So here it's a simple linear graph, but in more complex graphs, this would be useful to highlight different graph nodes. This is very powerful, guys, to debug your application, because you can call your agent, you can see how it works, you can see how it executes, and see its final trace. Now let's see how to debug using the debug agent. So let's select it from here. Now let's see how to debug using the buggy agent. We can select it from here. Here we have our agent. Let's ask the same question. What is complexity economics? We submit a question, and here we have our agent execution. So if we check our agent answer here, we see that our agent is using some complex terms like neoclassical economics, heterogeneous agents, paradigm, non-equilibrium, and so on. This is not easy to understand for a 5-year-old child. So let's try to fix this and see what we have in our code and what we asked our model to actually do. So if we look at the prompt that we gave to our buggy agent, we see that we are telling the agent that he is a professor and expert in complex technical communication. We ask him to answer the provided question as precisely as possible using technical language with maximal detail. So this is not for a 5-year-old person. Let's change this and see what it happens. let's change it with another prompt where we say to the model that he is an expert in explaining topics in a way that is easy to understand so that even 5 years old can understand it. We save this file. Let's check this out on Studio now. Let's refresh the page. We have our buggy agent here, and let's ask the same question. What is complexity economics? Let's check the answer now. Here we have, okay, imagine you have a big box of Lego blocks. So we see that the language complexity has changed here. We are talking about towers, roads, castle, cars, and so on. So we see that the model followed our instructions and we could visualize all this very easily on Studio. Now let's check our third and last version of our agent, which is the flaky one. Let's ask the same question. What is complexity economics? And here we have the agent execution. So we have our question. If we look at the agent answer, we see that the agent is saying, I cannot provide an answer to this question based on the given context. So here there is a context problem. We can go and check the trace as well. And we see that the problem is related to the search step where we don't have any document returned to answer to the question. And that's why the model said that it didn't have the context to answer to the question. Now there is a very useful feature on Studio, which is interrupts, which is like putting breakpoints in our agent execution. Like as we know that the problem is related to the search, we can put a breakpoint right after the search step to see what was the problem. We see that we can see it here, but just here I wanted to show you the interrupts feature, and you see that it has been applied in the graph here. So let's ask the same question. What is complexity economics? And we see that the agent stopped right after the search step. If we take a look at the step output, so here we have that no documents returned to answer to the question. If we ask the agent to continue its execution, to go to the explain step, we click on continue. And here again, we have no answer from our agent. And from here, we can even debug further using another great feature called forking. With forking, we can even edit any step in the agent execution. For example, let's change the query here and we ask the model why bears hibernate in winter, and we click on fork. We still have our breakpoint. If we check the search, now we see that we have a document returned to answer the question. So we ask the agent to continue, and here we have our agent answering the question. And if we check our traces again, we see that at the search step documents, there is a document that has been returned and the agent answers to the question, compared to one of the other executions where no document returned. So the agent doesn't have any answer and say that it cannot provide an answer to the question. As you see, guys, forking is a powerful tool where you can see what would have happened if we change one of the intermediate steps. This is it, guys, for today. We saw how to use LangGraph Studio to visualize and debug agents executions. I hope you liked the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to have more videos like this one, and see you next time.